Hey everyone, welcome to the season premiere, season 3 of the Garden State HSWrestling.com podcast, Near Fall. I'm Donald J. Brower. For some of you who may not know who I am, I'm the guy who's been covering Morris, Sussex, Hunterdon, and Warren Wrestling for the last 9 years. But guess who's back? Donnie's back. Guess who's back? Tell your friends. I know I messed that song up, but despite the best efforts of Father Time, some doctors, and some moron who thinks he can do a better job than me, we're back. We're back again. That last year, I don't know what it was. It was almost like Dallas, Bobby Ewing. I woke up in the shower. I know it happened, but I deny it. I don't know what exactly happened. We are going crazy with the podcast this year. When I tell you it's a new year, new direction, we're talking about everything high school wrestling. We're going to be telling everything we can. We're going to get the Twitter active. I've already talked to the coaches, the followers. We're going to get everybody going. I am knee deep into the preview videos. They should be up when this comes up. Knee deep trying to figure out who's who. We're going to do questions. We're going to do more live streaming. Matter of fact, I got the first question of the year already, and it's from Dave in Clinton. Dave wanted to know who's the hardest coach to interview and who was the easiest coach. For me, the hardest coach, I love him to death. I bust his chops to this day. James Laval from Hanover Park. It was like trying to get water from a rock, getting a good quote from him. As a matter of fact, I joke with him a lot that some of his first quotes that he gave me were essentially repeating the same question I asked him, but changing the verbiage. So it was interesting. The easiest had to be former Randolph coach Mike Sook. He would love talking. He talked about wrestling. He talked about, one year he called me on Christmas Day to talk to me about wrestling. I was like, Coach, but he's always the easiest to talk to. But thank you, Dave. We're going to have more questions this year. So if you want, on the Twitter machine, we're going to put it right here. The Twitter account, right here. We're going to put it right here where Jared's going to do the post-production. And we're also going to, you send us the questions. We'll answer anything. My wife will tell you, I have a big mouth. I like to talk. But speaking of coaches, we got a bunch of coaches this year. Morris Knowles, Anthony Facili, a former wrestler from Jefferson, takes over for Joe Barchetto, who's now with the youth program in Mount Olive. Parsippany, Steve Miller takes over for Joe Dasty, who stepped down. Wes Morris, Ken Rossi stepped down. We got Chris Marold, his longtime assistant, taking over there. Pope John, we got a new coach, but an old one. After 2 years away, Mark Piotrowski comes back, takes over for Austin Alpa, who's over at Don Bosco. Sparta, Frank Battaglia steps down. His longtime assistant, Dan Trappy, steps in. Shouldn't miss a beat there. Another longtime assistant, Jim Berenger, is taking over for Frank Rogers at Hackettstown. Shouldn't miss a beat there. And one wrestler who, it's not a change in the head coach, but somebody I'd keep an eye on, Del Barton has Ryan Harrington in the room. That should only help their upper weights, because that was one limiting factor in the upper weights for Del Barton. You figured there was nobody to show him. And if there's anybody who could show you how to be a great wrestler in those upper weights, it's Ryan Harrington. I mean, do the research on him. And a couple little other things I want to say, a couple hellos, one goodbye. Welcome back, Dover. The only school in the county last year to not have a team due to COVID. Dover's back, ready to go. And I'll tell you what, the excitement around that Tiger team, I'm telling you, they may not run out and destroy some people, but there's some excitement. The numbers are up. And I would keep an eye on those Dover Tigers and Coach Birch, what he's got going on over there. Now, we gain one team back, we lose another. There's going to be no Morris Catholic Crusaders wrestling. Numbers were down. The writing was kind of on the wall. You knew it was going to happen. We were hoping there might be a chance of possibly them co-opting with another team. I know they had done it last year with Newark Academy, but they opted not to have a program. Anytime you lose a wrestling program, whatever numbers wise, it's a shame. And, I hope it's something that's only a short-term thing and they can bring it back in the long term and get it the proper respect it deserves. And a wrestler who's moved on back to his home school and out of the county, PJ Casal from Del Barton, moved back. He's now at Passaic. I'm sorry. He's over there. No, Pascagoula, I'm sorry. And PV, and we'll just call it PV for short so I don't sound like an idiot. But he's back there. So that opens up the 220 heavyweight for Morris County. And that's going to be, something that people want to keep an eye on. Now that we've talked about new things, my Stefanelli Management Money Match of the Week. That's what we're going to call our weekly match that we're going to kind of go in a little more in depth on and talk about in the future and kind of highlight, and it'll be most likely involving two of the top area teams coming up. The big one that I think is coming up, because obviously we're not going to be in dual meet season, it's going to be strange a little bit. Beast of the East. Not only is it one of the top tournaments, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens down there, because I know there's some teams going, but they've required masks now from what I've last heard when they wrestle. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's kept up and if that's going to be the way they're going to go with it. But we'll see. But this time we're going to head to our interview. Some things are different. Some things stay the same. Our sponsor, Dan Warnikoff, Champion Athletes. I've talked about him on here. I've said his praises. I've talked about exactly what he does. And he asked me if he could have a couple minutes. I said, listen, man, you paying the bills. No, but seriously, Dan's a great guy, and Dan's helped me out with a lot of stuff. And, he's, like I said, the title sponsor here, and got a chance to catch up with Dan. We'll head to that interview right now. Joining me is a man right now who I'm sure you've all heard of, because I talk about him every week as my sponsor, but a man who's very important in not only high school wrestling, but wrestling in general. Dan Warnikoff from Champion Athletes. Dan, thanks for taking some time to talk to me. Oh,
thank you very much for having me on the show.
Talk a little bit about it, because I know what you do, and I know a lot of the wrestlers what you do. Explain what you do with wrestling.
So Champion Athletes and Wrestler Nutrition, we're sports nutritionists, and our whole goal is to help athletes perform better through better nutrition. For some guys, that means gaining weight, gaining muscle. For other guys, that means leaning down, losing some extra body fat. Whatever it is to help you maximize your weight and feel your best and perform at your best.
Now, growing up, that was kind of a new thing for me, because I know back in the day, it used to be put on trash bags, run around, be unhealthy, cut a lot of weight. What's the difference? Because I know you help with the nutrition. How does that help a guy lose weight and actually enjoy it in a sense?
So typically wrestlers are in this pattern where they gorge themselves and then they starve themselves, and they gorge themselves, starve themselves. Same thing with water. They'll drink a lot of water, then they won't drink any. What we're trying to do is get them to manage their weight rather than cut weight. So even though wrestlers like to use the term cut weight, our goal is to help them really manage their weight. So we help them bring their weight to the right place. They try to maintain it about 2 pounds above their wrestling weight. Our clients eat 6 times a day, and most of them are drinking about 1 gallon of water a day. And then we make adjustments as it gets closer to when they weigh in.
Well, I eat 6 times a day, but I don't think I'm going to be wrestling in any matches, and that might be a whole nother story, the way I eat 6 times a day. But what got you involved in this? Because I know a lot of times with wrestling, there's different ways, and they will approach it from a nutrition standpoint. What got you involved in it?
So this was actually my second career. I was a flight paramedic and a hospital administrator. In 2006, I got laid off from my job, and I wanted to do something different. So I went back to school and started studying sports nutrition. Both my sons were wrestlers in high school and middle school. And I think wrestling's an amazing sport, but the weight management was terrible. And I really wanted to do something just to make it better.
Thanks, Dan, for taking the time. I really enjoy your support. He does an amazing job. Families, friends, if you want to get your child involved in wrestling, there's so many aspects. Talk to Dan. He will help your child get better. Now, we talked a little bit about some more preseason stuff. We talked about doing some extracurricular activities. One of the things we're going to go old school throwback, top 10, preseason top 10. Now, first in, we've done this before, Morris Hills. They're my first one. I'm keeping an eye on them. They got some depth. I think they're going to win the division. It's a tough division. I like Morris Hills. Next, Butler. Butler, I was on the fence with last year. They moved up to Division II in the NJIC. They're back down to Division IV. I think that makes them better. They got Brett Redner. I like where Butler's headed. Now, this is going to be strange because the next 5 or 6 teams are right there. They're right there in that group to where you kind of look at them and you're like, one could go one way, one could go another. My next team is Booton. 3 really good wrestlers, the Smith brothers, Fungaro, really good wrestlers. Then it drops off a little bit. So I got them right there, 9. Next one, Kittatinny, same thing. You have Stephen Dolan. You have a couple of the girls up there. You know, you have some really good wrestlers. Then there's that drop off. It's no longer a steady decline. It kind of dropped really off. So I got Kittatinny at number 8. Again, same story, different team. Mendham. They have their really good wrestlers, and if they can get some of the young guys up, that could change where they rank. But right now, I got them at 7. Montville. I got Montville right there at number 6. I like Montville. You know, same scenario. I really think they're going to do well in their section. I think they can make a run at the sectional title. I think they'll do well. They're in a tough division, but I got Montville 6. Another American division team, Pope John. Pope John's my hit or miss team this year. They lost some of their key guys, transfers, graduation. They have some really young guys. Carson Walsh's one to kind of keep an eye on. How that all plays out and how they'll mesh, I think they'll make it, you know, make a run. They'll obviously be a non-public B in the contention there for non-public B North. We'll see how it plays out for them this year. I think they'll be solid. Number 4, this is my one that I'm going to get accused of being a homer. I really don't care. Hanover Park. I wasn't sure what they were. I got a chance to check them out. They got some really young kids that are coming in. They got some really good young kids that are coming in next year. They lost some amazing wrestlers, but I think in their division, they should be solid enough, and they'll be in the mix right there. So they're my number 4. Number 3, High Point. Anytime you're running out Brian Soldano and a couple other guys, I mean, there's really nothing you could say. I mean, they're one of the best teams, and you know, the fact that they only got a chance to wrestle, I think it was 3 matches last year because of 2 long COVID shutdowns, you know, was a disgrace, but that's what happened. And I really like them. And then I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think maybe people might have forgot how good High Point is, and I think they're ready to show them how good they are. Number 2, they're my best public team that I personally feel in the area, and I think they're solid from top to bottom. The Mount Olive Marauders. I mean, this team right now should win Group 4. I'll put it out there, Group 4 champions. You know, don't come after me if something happens, but I'm putting it out there in the world, in the mojo. They should have been a sectional champ last year. They were probably one of the teams most hurt by the elimination of the teams aspect, but Mount Olive is right there, and they're my number 2 team. And it's going to be real hard for somebody to take them out. And I think they'll be number 2 for a while. But number 1 is Del Barton. I mean, you want to talk about loaded for bear. I was looking at their lineup. I mean, they have good wrestlers from 106 all the way up. You know, they even have a heavyweight who's a football player who they're learning, who I joked with their coaching staff is still probably going to win 3rd at the MCTs. It just seems to happen. But Del Barton's my number 1. And I really think Del Barton's going to be the number 1 team in the state. And I think they're going to be pretty high ranked in the country. So it's not that shocking for Del Barton and those guys to get out there and, you know, kind of hit everything with what they're doing. That's my top 10. I really enjoy it. You know, looking at it this year, it's really, like I said, you're going to have that first couple group of teams up top, and then it's just going to be basically Armageddon after that. Just how close everybody is and how, you know, enjoyable it is. And, you know, this is, like I said, with my preseason, the one thing I know I'll probably get a couple questions about is these are my preseasons as of now. When I look at my videos that'll be up most likely today, already up or be up sooner, you're going to notice when I'm speaking about certain teams. For example, I have Montville and Mendham finishing higher than Pope John in my year-end rankings. That's just because I think that'll wind up playing out. There's multiple scenarios that are different. So in my preseason, I'm going with Pope John ahead. I think that's going to shake out. So don't give me any grief this week where everybody's looking at my videos and wonders why I have certain teams ahead. That's kind of my rationale, my thinking, you know, heading into that. But I don't want to take too much time. Obviously, we're doing the preseason. We're getting ready to hit everything. I still got videos to do. I'm on a deadline. But final word for the night, final word for this week, carefulness. COVID is still a huge thing affecting a lot of people as far as with districts and testing. And there's been other teams already who have had to shut down for a little bit. And there's been, COVID outbreaks. And I know certain counties, I know they're on right now virtual. If we want a season, we have to take the precautions. I understand people's debate about stuff, but please, just for the sake of everything going on, if you have to go somewhere and you're around the kids, wear a mask, wash your hands, basic stuff. We don't want to give anybody an excuse to shut down the season. No one wants that. Please, we want to get back to normal. My wife wants to go down to Atlantic City and spend. She wants to go see the cauliflower ear convention, she calls it, in March. Please, everybody, just be safe, be careful. Now, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on the Twitter, Morris County HSW. You can check out all the videos and stuff that'll be up at MorrisCountyHSWrestling.com, SussexCountyHSWrestling.com, HunterdonCountyHSWrestling.com, WarrenCountyHSWrestling.com, GardenStateHSWrestling.com. If you have any questions, our information's on there. I'm going to be here all year. Nobody's stopping me. Like I said, people have tried to shut me down. I've been attacked. I've been, trying to take down by some higher level people than the assholes who are trying it now. So until I'm drug away and put in a white room, I'm going to be here covering wrestling in Morris, Sussex, Hunterdon, and Warren County. There's one thing that I used to say growing up when I was in the military, when I was in high school, when I was out, they said, Brower's not the one to fuck with. And trust me, I'm not the one to fuck with. So on that note, I got to get back to my videos. I'll have them up. We'll have another podcast up next week. For Jared, the podcasting legend, I'm Donald J. Brower. I'll see you next time.